So here we have the EcoBoost F150 with a busted out passenger mirror. As you can see, broke the plastic here, broke the whole mirror, and judging by how it looked when we pulled out that mirror, we have to replace the whole thing. So there's a few things you're going to have to do. First of all, there's a plastic plate in here that's going to have to be removed. It'll really help if you have a trim tool to do that. And then there's also this little piece of plastic here that I got out of there. And then lastly, to remove the door panel, there's going to be two little bolts, one in there and one in there. We're going to have to use a ratchet to get all four bolts out, the one that's behind this plate, the one in there, and the two below. Once that happens, we can pull this door panel up and access the mirror, which is going to be right in here. Alright, so now that we got these plastic pieces off from here and here, we got two 6mm bolts down here and then two 8mm bolts up here. We'll pry those or pull those out, pull the door panel off, and access the mirror here. So if you look in here, this is the door handle right here, this guy, and it's attached by these clips right there. So you're going to want to push on those clips, which will then release the door panel so you can pull it through. So now that the door panel is removed, you can see we have three bolts we have to unscrew in order to remove the mirror. But first, right here, we have to unplug this wire, which is what's connecting the power supply of the mirror. So there's just a little clip here, right on the right side. You stick your finger in and kind of pull toward the rest of the car. Kind of, for me, I'm pulling to the left with my thumb here. And once you get the clip, then you just kind of wiggle it out, and there it is. So see, that's what I mean. The clip's right there on the right side. Boom. So now we're going to unscrew these bolts and pop the mirror out. Alright, so now that we got the door panel off, the bolts off, there's a small clip up here on the mirror. So you're going to want to pull from the top first and disconnect that clip, and then we're going to lift it up a little bit, pull straight out. Here it is. As you can see, thing's pretty bunk and useless. We're going to toss that. Bring in our new mirror. Hopefully we don't break it anytime soon, but you know how it goes. So we're just going to pop it into place there. Make sure you're hanging on to it. Secured for now, but you don't want to leave it hanging like this for too long because it could fall out. So now we're going to take these nuts again, screw them back on first, just with our hands because it's quicker. Just don't drop them. So it's not a it's not a Ford part. So the bolts are just like slightly off. They fit and they work fine, but fit is not exact. But that's what happens when you buy a cheap part from overseas. Then we're gonna plug back in power supply for the mirror and test it out, see if it works. So we've torqued down these nuts back onto these bolts. Doesn't have to be super tight, but just a firm fit is optimal. Then we got to put this little piece of plastic back on. Slide that in there. Goes like that. Then you just kind of press it onto this sticky stuff that is already there. Kind of a putty material. We're going to take our door panel. First thing we're going to do is take the door handle and slide it through. Like this. And then there's some teeth down here that we're going to angle in to the door. Just like that, so it's already sort of secure. Clip the door handle back into place. So a couple things you got to do to put this door panel back on. One, you got to slide the door latch back in and make sure it's clipped in. And also, without yanking the cords, you got to reattach the lock and window wires right here. The clip faces toward the front of the door, so if you can't see what you're doing, align the clip to your left as you're looking at the door, and it should fit. And then we have to align a lock, a little thing that comes up and down in the door, with this right here. And boom, we're in. Make sure we're good all the way around. Now the door panel is back on. We just need to hit those 4 bolts and the job will be done. So the long one with the washer is going here in the door. Where you grab with your hand right here. This other long one is going to go in here. The one with the washer that is not a separate piece from the bolt itself. And then the small black ones are going to go down here. Last thing, reattach these pieces, the straight edge that is curved this way, and then the rounded edge will be toward the front of the door. Tap it back in place. And the last thing right here,